Hey guys, it's your boy Paulie here, and I would like to thank everybody for tuning in to episode 5 of the podcast. We've got an awesome guest this week, and I really think you guys are going to enjoy everything that he has to say. But before we get into the show, like always, we're going to give a huge thanks and shout outs to our sponsors, because without them, none of this would be possible. And we're going to start with our first supporter of the podcast. That would be Maddox Decks. They are custom made and shaped skateboards by a local skateboarder here in Jacksonville, Florida, named Dalton Maddox. I've ridden several now. They're the best damn decks you can ride, in my opinion. Solid wood. You can literally, I give him my dimensions and a shape inspiration or an exact shape template or idea, and he crushes it out. And it's just fucking sick. Please don't take my word for it. Hit him up yourself. Get your own and make your own judgment on it. You can find him on Instagram at MAD_ACTS_DECKS. You definitely want to check him out if you're a skateboarder anywhere in the world. His shit's off the chain. He'll ship it to you. Check him out. Next, we want to thank Overcast Fishing Apparel. For anglers, by anglers, tattoo-inspired design, local tattoo artist, fisherman, and musician. My good friend Bob Presson. It is his company, and if you're into fishing, if you're into tattooing, the fishing lifestyles or beach kind of culture or I mean the tattoo culture, this is a company for you. If you live basically in the southeast on coastal waterways, you're into tattoos, you want to check him out, you can find him on Instagram at Overcast Fishing Apparel, as well as at Bobby P_IR, and you can hire his tattoo services at the Jacksonville Beach Inksmith and Rogers. Bob Presson. And then once again, we'd like to give a big thanks to Pomeroy Woodwork and Design. They specialize in traditional craftsmanship, custom design, cabinet making, crown molding and trim, furniture refurbishing and repurposing. Family owned, locally here in Jacksonville, Florida. You definitely want to check them out. You can check them out on Instagram at Pomeroy Woodwork Design. That's POMEROY WOODWORKDESIGN. So big thanks, mega shouts outs to the sponsors. And now we're going to go ahead and get into the show. Let me tell you a little bit about our guest today. It's Mikey Ciero. When I first moved to Jacksonville in the late 90s, there was a venue downtown called the Imperial off West Forsyth Street. He was pretty much the guy there, booking local acts eventually. I mean, we had some, it was very much an underground venue, but there were some big punk acts, some big hardcore acts, and big metal acts that came through there, as well as we had hip hop hell, and it was just... It was an awesome little sanctuary and little focal point of our scene. We're going to talk to him about that, his company Black Sunshine Booking, and basically his career as just a music head and promoting and booking bands and shows. I know you guys are going to enjoy it, so appreciate you tuning in. This is episode 5 coming at you, and here we go.
It's Beyond the Pod.
You're listening to Beyond the Pod.
Yo, let's go. You're on the pod.
You're listening to Beyond the Pod.
Hey guys, it's your boy Paulie Walnuts here, and I'm super stoked for my guest today. It's a longtime friend, Mikey Ciero. He's very active in the music scene, and he's been really a cornerstone figure since I've lived in Jacksonville for all the local bands, hip-hop artists, musicians, artists in general, looking to get on a bill, especially with a national act. Like, this has been the guy to see. I mean, Mikey, how you doing?
Man, I'm good, man. I'm good. You know, getting through the holidays. Stoked to be here.
Yeah, man.
I like that you're doing this. I appreciate that.
Yeah, dude. Thank you so much for coming on. So we're gonna start off. Not everybody, knows your background. So tell us a little bit about yourself. How old are you? Are you from Jacksonville? Where'd you go to school, et cetera, et cetera?
So I'm old. I'm old as dirt. It's funny. I could be a lot of the parents of the bands I book. So I'm 44 years old.
Right on.
I'm from Long Island, New York, born and raised, and then I moved to Jacksonville like 20 years ago or so. So I've been here for a minute.
Yeah, so
I've
you
been
moved
here
here
since
right around the time that I moved here.
when the Jag started is when I moved here.
I moved here in '98, so you moved here like
So I was a little bit before that then. So
yeah.
God, what 25 years? Yeah, because Jags are 25 years.
Crazy.
It is. God.
Time
Oh, so
flies.
I've been here longer than I grew up in New York. That's crazy. That's a crazy thought.
Yeah, the same here for Pittsburgh.
But yo, I love it here though. I love Duval.
Yeah, see, you've totally adopted. You got the Jags
I am.
jacket on.
Hey, I'm still a Jets fan. But yo, starter jacket. This was half off.
Bro, honestly, that's something that I've come to realize. I think that I held on to it so hard because when I first moved here, the Jags were in the AFC Central with the Steelers.
Oh yeah.
And they were good, so it was immediately a rivalry. Everybody talking shit to me, and I was like, fuck all these Jags fans. But the older I've gotten, the more I'm like, I watch every game. If they literally don't affect the Steelers, or if the Steelers aren't in it, I'm screaming at the TV, rooting for the Jags.
That's me, dude, all day.
I'm
all
officially,
day.
you see the Duval flag, I'm officially,
Oh, yeah,
that's
yeah.
my second team. I bleed black and gold, but at the end of the day, I love some black and teal.
Yep. I feel that.
Well, cool, man. Did you grow up, obviously you're way into music. Did you grow up playing any instruments?
No, I didn't play. I dabbled around a little bit, but every time I try to play something, I was like, oh, that sounds like this song. I'm just going to listen to that song because they do it better than I do. So I just didn't have the patience to really do it. But I've always kind of been a behind the scenes kind of cat anyway, man. Like, like the pulling the strings,
the unsung hero.
I've always had that mindset. I've always been the guy getting people into bands. I was always the dude going, oh my God, listen to this. You should check out this band. You're gonna love this band. I was always that guy. Always. Always going to shows in New York. And obviously growing up in New York, you had your choice of, you had to pick and choose what shows you were going to each night because there was so many.
Right. Yeah, I can imagine.
Which obviously was good problems to have. It was a little different when I moved here. It's funny, just a quick little story. When I first moved here, I remember Helmet was playing at Plush, and it was Memorial Day weekend, I think. It was a holiday weekend to where Monday was a holiday, and it was on a Monday. But they were playing at Plush, which is, or I don't even know if it was called that at the time.
Yeah.
It was probably called something different because it changed its name so many times. But it's a pretty decent sized venue, especially for a band like Helmet.
Venue. Yeah.
And it was them and Jesus Lizard, and I'm like, all right, cool, man. I'm going to go see that show. And sure enough, the show was sold out, packed. And I was like, oh, man, Jacksonville is booming. I'm like, this is going to be it. And then there was kind of a dry spell after that. But Milk Bar was around. Milk Bar was legendary. Milk Bar definitely paved the way for me in Jacksonville. That's where all the hardcore was, all the punk.
For those that don't know, though, and everybody knows the band Limp Bizkit.
Oh, yeah.
Limp Bizkit, really, they played the early shows at the Milk Bar, for sure.
And there's a reason they got as big as they did. Because when they came out, and I would see them, I saw them a bunch before they were signed and whatnot, and they had an energy like no one else, man. They would come out and love him or hate him, man. Fred Durst is...
Dude, what I was about to say is his mom actually lived across the neighborhood from my mom, and so honestly, right around the time Significant Other hit, I remember me and my brother and a couple other kids from the neighborhood were skating back to the house. We saw a big ass tour bus parked out front, so we knew because we knew that was in Miss Anita's house. So we go over there, and sure enough, me and my brother are the ones with the balls to fucking go knock on the front door. So we knock on the door, and honestly, Fred peeks his head out through the screen door, and he's like, "What up?" And we're just like, "Can we just get some autographs?" Dude, he came outside. He was fucking around on our skateboards. He took
sick,
a permanent marker, tagged our shirts. For all of everybody says he's an asshole and he this that. Every experience I've had with him, to be honest with you, has been pretty real, like pretty down to earth. So that's my experience with Limp Bizkit.
Man, I know he's always repped Jax hard. You know, he's never
take it to the Matthews Bridge.
Yeah, you know what I mean. Like like they never denied Jacksonville ever, man. Like, and they were, you know, when they blew up, they took out Cold. You know, they took Cold under their wing, who was another great Jacksonville band that, you know, was they're actually active again, doing shit, which is cool.
Right.
But yeah, man, Jacksonville's a special place, man. It's different. It's unique. There's something different about it, and it's hard to put your finger on it. Totally but like agree. There's always a lot of weird stories that come out of Jacksonville that you're like, man. I mean, you know, Leonard Skinner is one of the biggest bands in the world.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
we're
Jacksonville.
A couple blocks from the high school that they got the name from.
You know, that's
from the gym teacher.
And you know, they're one of the most influential bands.
Yeah.
So it's crazy to think about that when you step back. You're like, damn, Jacksonville's got some crazy history.
It's cool too because honestly, in the skateboarding scene, it's the same way. Florida in general, but also like North Florida, when you start to like really go back and start listing pro skateboarders or really, really good amateur skateboarders that either have like transplanted here for their most formidable years or grew up and raised here and went on to blow up. Jacksonville has been a host of talented people. I mean, also tattoo artists.
Yeah, tattoo artists for sure.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jacksonville is definitely a hidden gem that gets a bad rap, in my opinion. But anyway, so let's get back to like kind of growing up. So what other hobbies other than listening to music or interests did you have?
All I did was listen to music and go to shows, and I'd play hockey. I played street hockey growing up a lot. I played hockey a lot. Down here, not so much. I got more into football. I love football growing up. I always loved football. But I definitely got into it more down here and less hockey because, you know, Jacksonville just doesn't have the best hockey culture.
Dude, I grew up playing hockey too. And I played a little bit of hockey down here. It was mainly roller hockey, but yeah. No, I love it. Let's see, what else? Okay, so we'll go ahead and start getting into to more in depth in the music.
All right.
What's your favorite genre?
I mean, if I have to choose a favorite, I'm a metalhead. You know, through and through. You know, I some people would disagree, but I could throw hardcore under that umbrella. It's just, you know,
I agree. I totally agree.
For lack of better terms, you know, definitely metal and hardcore reserved in my top slot if I have to choose. If there's a gun to my head, that's what I'm going with.
All right, now what's we'll go ahead and for favorite bands we'll do a top 5, and it can span any genre.
Top 5. Oof. All right. Top 5.
And we're not going to hold this to you. This is going to be etched on your grave.
Yeah, you know that will change 10 minutes from now, but
I'm sure.
You know, Sick of It All, definitely has got to be up there. I mean, Slayer, Judas Priest. My first show ever was Judas Priest.
Oh yeah.
In '88. God, '88. Before probably a lot of you were born, but you know, hey.
I was 3 years old, Mikey.
Yeah. Well, shit. I was a little bit older than that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Judas Priest is definitely one of my faves. Bad Brains. I mean, fuck. You know, Bad Brains. Yeah. Shit. Top 5, man. I don't know. That's a tough one. Who else would I say that's... I mean, I could literally say 1,000 bands right now.
I know, I feel you, bro, because honestly, it's like anytime people, you know, it's like, oh, whether it's my favorite band because I listen to every genre of music or it's my favorite skater, I'm always like, well, how do you do that?
Yeah.
How do you narrow it down?
Because...
favorite movie?
Yeah,
how do you do that?
You know, with music especially, it's like, man, like, I could tell you, you know, Wu-Tang's first album is probably one of my all-time favorite albums. However... the rest of their albums aren't quite my favorite. I still like them, but they're not as overall, you know, if I was to compare them to Testament's got a better catalog throughout. Whereas Wu-Tang, I might favor their first album more. So it's kind of, you know, where's the balance at for that? Shit, man, I don't, that's a tough one. I mean, Testament definitely is up there. They're definitely a fave.
Well, we don't have to kill you over it.
yeah, that's a hard one, man. I could say 1,000 band names.
So tell me this: when you know, you said earlier that you were always kind of felt as the background guy.
Yeah.
When did you start promoting shows? I mean, did it start as like, house shows? I mean, how did it all come about to where you're like, yo, I'm gonna get you a gig?
So what's funny about that is I kind of forgot about this until a few years back, but when I was about, I would say 15 or 16, like the early stages of death metal is really, the late 80s, early 90s death metal scene. I was really, really into. Still love it, and there's a lot of new shit that's coming out right now that's amazing in that genre. But I was really into it, and then, would fuck around with some local bands, younger bands that were my age or whatever. And we didn't really know how to get into clubs that we would go to because it's a little different now. Everything's a little more accessible. It's more readily available than it was back then.
Yeah, totally.
So there was one band that I started working with, and they were like, and I was kind of like their manager, like I would, we got shirts and I got the artwork done for their shirts and we got shirts done for them, and just kind of like I would schedule their practices and shit, like just shit like that. Just behind the scenes, it just kind of became a thing. And then they had their shit together, and then they were recording a demo, and I was like, well, let's book a show. Let's do a show. And they're like, well, we don't know how to do that. I'm like, well, let's figure it out. And up north, more so than down here, there are a couple in Jacksonville, but there are studios that bands would go to practice that had different rooms, and you could literally do a live practice show in those studios where you could just rent them out hourly. Oh, wow. Or you rent them out for the night or whatever. And that was a pretty common thing, at least up north. I don't know if it's like that everywhere else, but definitely up north. I know it's like that in like Boston and shit like that, like in Massachusetts and stuff like that. But it was cool. So you go in, there's like professional gear and shit like that, so everything's kind of there. So we did that. We rented out a studio one night. We rented out the big room, and we threw a show in there. We didn't tell them we were doing a show, and we didn't tell them we were charging, but it didn't seem to be a problem. But man, we packed the place, dude. We did, we had over 100 kids in a studio, and then had yeah, it was crazy because I'm like 15 or 16 years old and we never did this before, and here it is. Like, I remember when the memory did come back, I remember we had flyers, and we would, everywhere we would go, I remember pulling over when you saw a kid walking down the street with a metal shirt. You just literally pull over when you were driving in a car.
It's like, yo,
and jump out. Yeah, and scare the shit out of people. But then when they realized what was going on, but again, things were a little bit different back then. People were excited about shit like that.
There were no smartphones.
Absolutely not. Not at all.
Networking was a footwork game.
Yes, it was. It was very much. But so I got my, I kind of always had that there. I always that was a thing back then. And then, when I moved to Jacksonville, I started working at some record stores, and, I was at CD Warehouse, and I met some dudes, and I was selling the shit out of their CD locally, and they were like, yo, why don't you manage us? I was like, I mean, I'm not a manager. Like, well, you're doing something right because you're selling our CDs. Like, you're calling us every week asking us to bring more CDs up because you're selling them. And I gotta be honest, man, we were selling the shit out of those CDs.
That's what's up.
Yeah, we were moving. I was slinging those CDs. It was great. But started working with them and started going, okay, what we got to do is trade shows. You guys need to get out of town, so you offer a show to a band in South Florida. We'll bring them up. They're gonna play a banger of a show up here, so we'll kind of trade shows off. And that's kind of where I got into it, and then just kind of kept on going, just kept on evolving, and just kept on. Then I started booking other shit, and then I was like, you know what? Let me hit up these agents. I'm trying to get these bands in Jacksonville. I'm not trying to drive to Orlando again.
Fuck yeah.
So
let me ask you. We first met the Imperial days, early 2000s, and what was exactly your position there? I just always knew that you were like the dude to go to. Anytime I ever had a problem or a question, I was always like, hit you up.
I mean, it's the shit. I was everything there, really, except for sound guy. I'm definitely not a sound dude. Joey. Love Joey Sounds, dude. One of my favorite dudes ever.
Yeah, I love Joey. I worked with him at the Landing for a long time because I apprenticed under Fred Andrews too.
Oh yeah. Good
dude.
old Fred.
Rest in peace. Rest in peace, Fred Andrews. Yeah, an old crazy bastard.
He was crazy. Goddamn. Good old Fred. But man, he could do sound, but he could tank sound too if he didn't like you.
Oh,
he was the master of that suck button.
Oh, he was so you did not want to piss Frank off. You wanted to make sure that he had his Crown Royal and his cocaine.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
But Joey was a freaking blessing, man. That dude is still
solid as they come.
One of the best. And there's some cool dudes I work with and doing sound now, but man, Joey's definitely been one of my favorites. He's just really, really good to work with, man. He's a good dude. He's a solid dude. What's up, Joey?
Yeah,
you listen to this, Joey Sounds. That's why I always called him.
So Joey Sounds, dude. So tell us exactly. Oh, so what were the years of operation for the Imperial? What year did it shut down? Do you remember? What?
Yeah, there's people who remember way better than me. I think
it's always fuzzy for me.
Yeah, dude. I want to say 2007, 2008, maybe.
That's what. I feel like it was right around the time that I moved to Mobile, Alabama, which was right around when my oldest was born, which is 2008.
Yeah. It was after my daughter was born. Not too long after. She was still young, but yeah, man. Just unfortunately, it's hard to keep venues open, especially what we did. Underground venue mostly. I like to think that people had a place to go where there might have been worse alternatives.
That's honestly one thing I was telling my fiance about, because she was like, "Who's the name sounds familiar? Who's Mikey?" And I was like, and I showed him a picture, and she's like, "Oh, I've totally seen him." And that was one thing I was saying is, dude, my parents. You let my parents in, for my brother show.
Your parents were there all the time. I mean,
and it was so dope that honestly, it was just really a place for us to, for everybody to go.
Yep.
And it was definitely cool to be a part of and to experience. For sure. What are some of the fondest or craziest memories of shows from there?
Oh, there's been some fucking crazy moments. DRI was crazy there. That was way back in the day. Which I booked him a few times since. Rat Town Dan's brought him to Jacksonville a bunch. That dude's a fucking OG. He needs to be on this.
Oh yeah, no.
If you haven't had him yet, man, he's a legend. I love that dude. Dan, what's up, dude? Homie.
It's on the list.
But yeah, DRI was great, dude. I had a blast with that one. That was cool because it was probably one of the first shows I booked to where it was a legendary band in my world. And then they came in, they were fucking cool as shit. They played for longer than they planned because they were having such a good time, and they got paid more than they were supposed to, so they were stoked about that. And it was just an overall fucking killer night, dude. And it was cool, man. It was a diverse lineup because DRI, that's always been their thing. They're punk, hardcore, metal, crossover. That's what they always were, Yeah. So I kind of wanted to bring that in when we did it, and it was cool because we were able to put some locals on who wouldn't have got the chance back in the day to play with a band like that. But that's a standout. Suffocation, when I did them, man, I was blown away, dude. Those dudes were fucking great. That was a local band on Long Island that I would go as a kid. They were the band I looked up to because they were always opening all the killer lineups, and then they got signed, and then they started getting bigger, and it was cool to see that because they were a local band doing it.
Right.
They were my version of Limp Bizkit, so to speak,
Yeah.
And then when I booked them in Imperial, that was great, man. Again, the show did great.
Yeah, that's fucking sick.
It was killer, man. The show did awesome. They were the coolest dudes ever. They were so hospitable to me and thankful to me, and they gave me a bunch of fucking merch and it was just cool. And I remember they loved Joey too, man. As a sound guy, they were like, man, this is one of the best house sound guys we've ever worked with, and it was cool to hear a band like that to me that I looked up to. But man, we've had so many legendary shows with like a lot of the hardcore scene that was booming in the 2000s, like Terra, Bury Your Dead. Some of those were the best shows, dude. Death Before Dishonor was always fucking Hoods.
Dude.
Hoods was the last show at Imperial. Mikey Hoods, he's crazy.
Fuck yeah.
Oh, I think the recorder stopped.
Oh shit.
That's not looking at us anymore. That's good.
It's all good.
Turn down the ugly on that.
It's okay. I've never done that before. Well, anyway, technical difficulties,
Oh, good.
Cameras going out seems to be a reoccurring issue here.
That's all right. It's. I blame me. I blame the face. But no, man. There's We did Souls of Mischief there, which was so sick.
Wow.
That was dope. That was really dope. That was with Ian. Hip Hop Hell.
Oh,
Hip Hop Hell was always
Ian, Triclops Eye. Big shout
Yeah,
out,
man.
Ian.
Yeah,
Shantytown.
He is. He's done a lot, dude. He's done a lot in this scene. And I've known him for years and years.
Yeah,
for a long time.
Dude, it was.
But yeah, he brought Hip Hop Hell, man, and he killed it with that. Killed it.
Oh, dude, me and my boys were there, and that was, you know, even when I was like, you know, first started kind of rapping and shit like that, and I mean, that was very. I mean, I would never have gotten, you know, like I never would have thought in my life, I probably never would have gotten the opportunity or the guts to if it wasn't for that venue and that opportunity. Like, to be honest with you, because we used to just spit ciphers with my friends, you know. Cause
Yeah.
I was just, you know, I listen to hardcore, I listen to hip hop, I like punk, I like everything.
Right,
you know?
right, yep,
And
absolutely.
just growing up as a kid, you know, that did a lot of writing, and then I had moved to Jacksonville, going to Sandwood, had a bunch of friends that were really into hip hop, and they're like, dude, you should just
do it.
try.
Just do it.
So
Yeah.
it was like, as I did, and it was like, I remember the very first time that I'd ever actually spit or tried to rap in front of anybody that wasn't like my friend from school, like in the cypher beating on the cafeteria table, was at Hip Hop Hell.
Oh, that's sick.
And
See,
then
that's
next
such a
thing you
cool
know, like,
story.
It was Ian was like booking me and my buddy's show a couple of times.
And
It
you
was
know,
fucking sick.
I think that's true for a lot of Hip Hop Hell, honestly, man. I think a lot of cats in Jacksonville definitely got, you know, a jump start, a springboard from doing that, going, oh shit, I could do this.
Yeah, it was like, it was
You know?
something, I just know from me and my buddy's perspective was the way that we also looked at Hip Hop Hell. We would see shit like that on, you know, like on MTV too, in the basement, like that shit like that. It didn't happen here,
Right,
You know, and it
right,
didn't
right.
like, and so that was like, oh wait, we got a place where battles are happening.
It was-
There's an open mic at the end of the show, so anybody can get up there.
Yo, it was like punk rock hip hop, dude. Like that's what it
Punk rock
was, dude. It
hip-hop
was
is
like,
exactly what it was.
you know, which is where, you know, hip hop originally came from anyway. Was
yeah, totally.
was you know, I was just discussing this the other day with somebody. It was like the answer to disco.
Uh-huh.
It was like punk rock was to the rock and roll shit, you know, like where they didn't want to hear this big arena rock, so they did punk rock. That's what kind of hip hop started off as, and then, you know, obviously it took off on its own form. But Hip Hop Hell was definitely like the punk rock attitude for underground hip hop, and
100%, and I could not have said it better. And I'll probably
It's-
fucking steal that.
no, hey, steal away.
Just
That's
so
for,
you know.
for all of us.
So yeah, let me ask you. You know, I went to high school with Rory. You know, and when did you guys start like working kind of together, booking
So-
shows together for your friends?
Yeah, so Rory, he started doing some stuff, you know, here and there, and then he wanted to do this thing called Payback Fest at Imperial, and Payback Fest, and he's gonna know the bands better than I would, and Eddie definitely would. Eddie would know all the bands, but Eddie, I was working with Eddie at the time. Eddie Lay, he was like the punk rock dude. He was younger than me. He knew punk rock better than me, and you know, I was always really into bringing underground music, and I wanted to do underground punk rock and that, you know, shit that might skip Jacksonville normally.
Right.
So I brought Eddie in with me, and then Eddie and I were working together for a while, and then so Rory wanted to do Payback Fest, and then it was awesome. It was fucking great. It was an awesome lineup. It was a hardcore show, and honestly, man, for the life of me, I couldn't tell you what bands were on it. I know it's horrible, but I remember it was great.
Well,
It was,
I mean, how many shows have you done? Come on.
yeah,
You're
dude.
human,
And
alright?
you
You
know,
can
like,
forget a few.
honestly, dude, like the mind's not like it used to be. But God, man, I for the life of me, I can't remember what bands were on it. But it was a great fucking day. I remember the show being a blast. And you know, we were always friends with Rory, and then Rory started working with us, and he would handle the out of town shit because we started booking shows in other cities in Florida, and Eddie and or Rory would go handle the out of town shit where I, you know, didn't really want to travel at that point.
Right.
And then so, you know, Rory kicked ass, dude. He was a beast, you know. And then you know, I stepped down for a while, you know, like you kind of get burned out doing shit. And then, you know, I had family life, had a kid, you know, like so I kind of backed out of the booking thing for a little while, and then Rory kept on going, and then he just fucking took off he took off like crazy, you know, like wildfire. And then when I got back into it, you know, he was like, well, dude, you know, like help me out, because I was like, fuck it, So,
Fucking sick.
yeah, and Rory's a fucking good dude, man. He's one of the best dudes I know. Don't tell him I said that though.
Yeah. Hey, no. Rory,
I didn't mean that.
Rory is a good dude. He was a good dude back in high school. He's been a good dude as long as I've fucking known him.
He is,
He's
man. He is
solid as they come, and it doesn't matter how long I don't see him. If I show up at a door fucking somewhere, he's like, fucking come right the fuck in. You know, if he knows I need extra work, he's like, cool, come bounce here, come do this, whatever. You know, he's solid ass dude. Yeah, so it was super dope seeing you with your daughter at Kona's 40th anniversary. I think you were out there meeting Squiggy.
Well, yeah, Squiggy and he had done some work. Me and Squiggy are homies from fucking way back.
Squiggy's fucking off the chain.
He's wild. Yeah, he's wild, dude. He does a lot. I mean, I don't. There's a whole nother podcast to get him. So he's another one you could have on the podcast, I plan on getting him on. But he does a lot of shit, dude. Squiggy's he's a visionary. He does a lot of off the wall shit that people are like, what do you do? And yeah, no, he does it. But
I saw him last time. I saw him was actually out the Louder Than Life in Louisville last year.
Yeah.
And he was out there with the whole guitar experience.
And that was I had resigned from that. I was with him from the beginning on that, and this past year, that was the first Louder Than Life that I did not attend. It was kind of weird. I had FOMO, definitely the fear of missing out thing. But I had to step down. Just different responsibilities at home now to where it's a little more difficult for me to travel as much as I was doing with the festivals. But yeah, he kills it, man. He's got but with the Kona thing, he was helping with the 40th anniversary thing.
Big time, dude. We had Agent Orange there. It was fucking sick.
Cameron was out filming. Cameron Nunez is a beast. He's a beast.
Big shout out to Cameron. Yeah, he is fucking.
He's another one, man. And it's funny because it's not a secret. I'm not the biggest fan of photographers and videographers in Jacksonville. Unfortunately, just in my position, not all, but a lot are kind of in it for the wrong reasons.
Right.
And they have a weird thing of entitlement that a lot of them have. Not all, but a lot of them have. But
I can see that.
Cameron was never that dude, man. And Cameron would just come into shows, and half the time I didn't even know he was there, but yet he'd get the sickest footage.
Yeah.
But he was always out of the way, always kind of like off to the side. He was never trying to, a lot of these dudes get in this band's faces with the cameras and in the middle of the pit, and they get mad when someone hits their camera. And I'm like, yo, you're not the show.
Yeah, they're the show. Get the fuck out of their way.
Exactly. Yo, stay the fuck out of the way. And here's the thing, Cameron does that, and he knows how to do it. But so Cameron would come to shows that we did, and I was like, man, I don't know what you're doing, dude. Like, I'm not an artist as far as what cameras and shit, but whatever you do, man, it looks fucking great. And I never know you're fucking here.
Yeah, no, that's crazy you say that too, because he's actually helped us out with a few events at the skate park.
Yeah.
And it was kind of the same thing. It'd be like day 2 of whatever event we got going on, and then all of a sudden I'd see him in passing, and I'd be like, "Whoa, what up, dude?" And he'd be like, "Yeah," and I'd be like, "I didn't even fucking know you were here." And then I'd see the edit, and he's like in he's
everywhere,
like, up there, and I'm like,
dude,
he's a fucking ninja.
He is, dude. He is a fucking video ninja.
Yeah, I don't ever have to, he's never, getting in the way.
Yeah, I told Squiggy when, I was like, yo, man, we got to get this kid Cameron on board. I say kid. Everybody's a kid to me, just because I'm old. But I kept on telling him,
it's a New York thing too,
it is.
Hey, son, hey,
it is, what up, cuz, yeah. But, I kept on telling Squiggy, hey, man, we need to get this guy on board. He's telling you he's fucking killer, dude. He shoots shows all the time. Like, he's a beast, And then, sure enough, brought him on, and he's doing big shit. I don't even know if I could even say some of the stuff he's doing. I don't know if I don't know the rules on that.
I didn't know that he was out there for the Louder Than Life the year.
He does.
And then I saw his edit,
dude,
literally 2 days after I got home, and I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, he does all the festivals, dude. He's gotten some of the best footage, dude. Like on stage with Korn, Slayer, and Marilyn Manson. Just shit that people don't really have access to, and he's earned his way there too. He didn't just fucking get it handed to him, he's earned his way. And it's funny, some of the big dudes in the business that do have a good names, and I'm talking fucking LA fucking high end dudes.
Yeah.
At first are they square off against them because they're like, who the fuck's this young kid coming in? I don't fucking know, this weird goth looking hardcore kid. And then they see what he does, and they see how he does it. Next thing you know, they're like, hey man, I got some extra work if you want to help out.
Hell yeah.
And now they're all now they're all on the same level as him. You know, like they're like they brought him up. They're like, man, we what you're doing, we respect, and it's cool to see that, man. Cameron's another one. I trust me.
He'd be good on actually, when I got a list of, and it's funny because like Squiggy, Cameron are both on there. It's funny thing, Cameron actually took like. My little brother, who's into fitness for a little while, but he took like the very first like bodybuilding photos of Alex.
Little brother.
Yeah, little big brother. Yeah.
Motherfucker's biceps bigger than my head.
Younger brother, yeah, his fucking.
Shout out to Alex though.
My thigh. Big shout out to my younger brother.
Love that dude.
Alex Pomeroy Fitness, his wife Amy Pomeroy Fitness.
Amazing.
And
beast. They're both beasts.
And Cameron, yeah, dude, is fucking very talented individuals right there. So. I see the Black Sunshine booking. Yeah,
dude.
Is that all you?
So after, man, of course, man, phone's quiet all day, and then all of a sudden, after Imperial booking, after I kind of like moved on from that, I never had an official name. Right. Still did shows, but I never went with an official name, and then. It just kind of got to the point to where, especially like, building events on Facebook and shit, when you build it under your name, you can't really add businesses, you gotta, so I'd try to add bands to it and I couldn't because it was under my personal name. So it's kind of like, it was always a weird thing. And, it's just something I kind of procrastinated on. And I kind of always, in the back of my mind was like, I need to come up with another name for it. It's just the professionalism of it, I guess. But, man, I got a pup. In May. It's one of my things that had changed for me, my responsibilities.
Nice.
Got to take care of that little guy, but his name was Amigo. Shout out to Amigo.
Big shout out to Amigo.
But I call him Black Sunshine. That's one of my nicknames.
No, that's why I've seen it on the IG.
And Black Sunshine's it's a White Zombie song. It's a cool song. Everybody kind of knows it. It was pretty popular in like the alternative metal days or whatever. But that's he's like jet black. Beautiful black, but he's of course me being like the cuddly dad type. I'd call him Sunshine, and then I'm like, well, that's kind of twofold because literally that's my life. Like we were talking about earlier, I'm a night owl. I mean, that's the sunshine for me is at night. It's Black Sunshine. I was like, man, that's it. And it kind of was one of those things where I was just saying it to my dog. I was like, oh, I'm a little Black Sunshine, and I was like, that would be a good name for a booking company. And so I just went with it. I just went ahead and put it on there, and
that's fucking sick. Yeah, that's actually it's kind of funny you say that because a couple people asked me, and I was like, why are you going by Polly Walnuts? I was like, well, my mom, I've always drove my mom a little nuts, and everybody always says a little nuts, you know what I'm saying? I was like, it was either Polly Walnuts or Polly Pistachios. No, and the same was like Polly on the Pod, like my mom used to always, my dad was like, he had this weird fucking nickname for me, is Polly Palucci. He was be like, Polly Palucci, and sing this fucking song.
I see your dad doing that.
Yes, big time. See it. But yeah, it was like, my mom would always be like, my little Polly in the Pod. You know what I mean? For whatever reason. Then I thought about I always wanted to be on the radio.
Yeah.
And the days of radio are dying. It was like, it's like you said earlier, you always viewed yourself as a kind of behind the scene guy. Like I played bass, played a little bit of guitar. I rap a little bit. I produced beats. I became an audio engineer. Like I love music and events. And one thing I came to find out was I'm not afraid of public speaking or getting on stage,
right?
But I really enjoy being the kind of behind the scenes guy. And one of the things that appealed to me about radio was being able to talk to all these interesting people, potentially, and showcase talents of people that I like. And so, now that radio is dying, and I can sit here in my office with amazing people like my friend here with my computer, it was like, fuck it. And so they was like, where'd you come up with the name? I was like, well, pretty much from my mom.
I mean, that's great. I love it.
So.
And it's cool because like it just flows. When I heard that, I was like, oh, that's good. That's good.
So, well, anyway, man. I just want to say I really appreciate you for coming by, taking the time to swing through,
dude,
and discuss with us.
I was flattered that you asked, dude.
Oh,
to be honest
you
with
were honestly like number 4 on the list. I was like, fucking A, gotta have Mikey on there. Why don't you tell everybody where they can find you online and potentially in real life?
Well, shit, I'm gonna be at Archetype, which was Nighthawks.
is
That's
it
in
renaming?
Riverside. Yeah. It's called Archetypes now.
Okay.
New owners.
Cool.
And they're fucking amazing people. Connor and Preston and the Strata dudes. Another one. Add to the list.
Yeah, and that's like right over here, right?
Yeah, it's like 2 minutes away from here.
Yeah, 2 blocks.
And actually, I swung by there on the way here to see if anybody was there, but they weren't. But yeah, it's called Archetype now. There's some cool shit happening there coming up. Rain Dogs. I'm always at Rain Dogs. Got a bunch of cool shit there. Love that room, man. Rain Dogs is special, man. Rain Dogs is a sick place. So 1904, obviously, always at 1904.
What about some local artists or maybe want to get on a bill? How can they reach out to you?
So I'm at Black Sunshine Booking at Gmail, or Black Sunshine Booking on Instagram, Black Sunshine Booking on Facebook. I don't do Twitter really. I don't really know how to work it, to be honest with you. That's the old part of me. I don't do Snapchat or any of that weird shit too.
Yeah, me either.
I don't get that
too
either.
old for that.
But yeah, I think I do TikTok. No, I'm just kidding. I really don't do that. Yeah, I mean that's pretty much, man. You can find me. I'm pretty easy to find. I got a vinyl page because I'm a fucking vinyl nerd. Vinyl and cassettes and all that shit. It's a bit of an addiction, which I guess it's better than cocaine or some shit, But that's the Vinyl Command on Instagram.
The Vinyl Command.
Yeah,
Dope.
named after Final Command from Slayer. It's a Slayer thing. But yeah, if you want to nerd out some music shit, I have it. And yeah, I mean, I post all sorts of shit on there. Country records, death metal records, punk records.
Oh, you're going to want to go through my dad's vinyl collection, but he's got a fucking sick one. And it's the one thing that me, my brother, and my sister, we keep fighting about is like, no, it's mine when he
Who's
goes.
gonna
No,
get
it's
it?
mine when he goes. Dude,
Well,
crates and crates and crates.
I mean, I know he's your younger brother, but,
No, bro.
I don't know if he could take any of you guys.
Look, okay, the bigger you get, the less agile you become. Stick and move.
Fair enough. I'll take that. Hey, Alex, he said that, not me.
Stick and move. No, all right. Anyway, Mikey, I love you, brother. Thanks for coming
Dude,
on. Appreciate
always a
everybody
pleasure.
for listening.
Always a pleasure.
Definitely check
Mad
out
love.
this guy's shows, and we'll catch you next time.
Peace.
Hey guys, I want to thank you for tuning in and subscribing to episode 5, Paulie on the Pod, P on the Pod. If you have any questions for me, or any inquiries about advertising spots, guests we've had on, guests you want to see on, booking for events or anything, you can just email me at paulyonthepod@gmail.com. That's PAULYONTHEPOD@gmail.com. Once again, stoked that you're joining me on this journey. We got another week or two of local guests before I head up to Atlanta, Georgia to meet with a few interesting people up there in that hub of happening things going on. So look forward to catching you guys for episode 6. You guys be good, live well, peace, love, and skateboarding. Later.